Relationships with one another. To develop a mature church that exhibits faith, hope, and love, we must encourage all believers to participate in building up one another. Here's Gene.
This principle is an extension, really, of the previous principle and of the passages that deal with the coming of Jesus Christ. But now, Paul gets more specific in relationship to how to be prepared for the coming of Jesus Christ. And one of the first things that I've listed here as a caption for verses 12 to 13 is we need to listen and learn. Listen and learn. And notice what Paul writes to the Thessalonians. Now we ask you, brothers and sisters, to give recognition to those who labor among you and lead you in the Lord and admonish you, and to regard them very highly in love because of their work. Be at peace among yourselves. In other words, what he is saying is, be sure to learn from those who are appointed to teach you and guide you in relationship to these great truths regarding our growth in Christ, our faith, our hope, our love, and particularly to be prepared for the second coming of Jesus Christ. You see, God had a plan that was being instituted by Paul and other missionaries, other apostles, of appointing elders and spiritual leaders in the church in order to guide and teach these new believers, to build them up in the faith so that they would learn how to walk with Jesus and manifest these qualities of faith and hope and love. However, he goes on from the fact that we should listen to those who are appointed to teach us and respect them, but he says there's a flip side, as it were, or an extension of that, and that is that we're all to be involved in building up one another. And he gets very specific about that. And so we read about this beginning in verse 14. And we exhort you, brothers and sisters, not only to listen to your leaders and respect them, but all of you should be involved in this process. What is this process? Warn those who are idle. In other words, there were people that evidently in Thessalonica were taking for granted the fact that Jesus might come at any moment, therefore they don't have to work. They had a problem. They were idle. And Paul deals with this more specifically in 2 Thessalonians. Warn those who are idle. Now we could generalize and say, let's encourage each other to be about the Father's business, doing what God's will is in our lives. Secondly, he said, comfort the discouraged. All of you should be involved in comforting the discouraged. And there are people around us that are discouraged. We live in a world where there are difficulties, there are challenges. I just met a brother today, and I said, are you encouraged? And he said, I'm just simply accepting my situation. And he has a very difficult situation that he's living with. And so just a word of encouragement to our brothers and sisters is very, very important. Thirdly, help the weak. Wow. We're surrounded by people who are weak. And we have a wonderful opportunity to minister to those who are weak. Those who are weak physically, those who are weak spiritually, those who are weak emotionally, to be encouragers. Fourthly, be patient with everyone. That's a very important aspect of the fruit of the Spirit, isn't it? The fruit of the Spirit really deals with love and being patient and kind to one another. He goes on to say, see to it that no one repays evil for evil to anyone. I just talked with someone today who's really struggling with some anger towards another individual. And to be honest, I think there's a basis for anger. And it's one of those cases where you go to the passage where it says, be angry, but don't sin in the process. And that's what Paul is dealing with here when he says, see to it that no one repays evil for evil to anyone. Because once anger turns into getting even or trying to repay, then we've stepped over the line and we are moving in the direction of sinful behavior that can hold us in bondage, and it's out of the will of God. So he's simply reminding them not to do that. He goes on to say, always pursue what is good for one another and for all. Well, that right there will keep us busy until Jesus Christ comes again. So here we have Paul exhorting these believers to listen to those who are teaching them, but also to be a part of the body of Jesus Christ and building up one another. So the question that I have here is, looking at these specific functions just enumerated from Paul's letter, where could you make the greatest contribution in your own church? And I thought what I would do here is just simply bring these up again so that you can see them, and I'll read them. But as I read them, I'd like you to ask yourself the question, which one of these really speaks to me in terms of what I can do to encourage others in the body of Jesus Christ? So, once again, here they are. Warn those who are idle. Comfort the discouraged. Help the weak. Be patient with everyone. See to it that no one repays evil for evil to anyone. Always pursue what is good for one another and for all. Well, in view of what Paul has said, which is applicable to us as well as the Thessalonians, let me repeat the principle. To develop a mature church that exhibits faith, hope, and love, we must encourage all believers to participate in building up one another.